I just came back from. Oh, there's a rainbow outside. Oh, that's nice. I like rainbows. Oh yeah, sorry. Anyway, what was good? There's a rainbow. I just came back from my driving test, which was fucking well good. Right. So I've just driven for the first time in 2 months, and it was fucking awesome. They've got this really cool thing where it's like you push it to brake, and then it's got like a trigger, and the trigger is the accelerator. And it was like this hybrid car. I've never driven a hybrid car, so it was like a, well, electric, and it was really cool. I fucking loved it. So yeah, we drove all around Evian, like all the way almost to Tonon. We went on the motorway. We did all sorts. It was fucking well good. And I thought I did really well. It's like it takes about 5 minutes to get used to, and then after that you're like, oh yeah, this is fucking easy. In fact, it's probably easier. No, maybe not, but like it's pretty much as easy as real driving. When you get used to it, it's really cool. It was completely different to the simulator that I was practicing on. So good news is I passed my test, but he's recommended 2 hours of additional lessons, I guess, because I wasn't using my mirrors enough. But to be honest, I thought that I have a very, very good spatial awareness. Like I do look, but I don't like obviously look around, because like when you take your test, they're like mirror signal maneuver and all that. It's basically the same, and then you drive for 20 years, and then you just have this sort of, I don't know. I guess he's a driving instructor. That's his job, and he was just like, yeah, you didn't check your mirrors enough, and I was just like, oh, I think I did, but you didn't see me. But anyway, whatever. I was pretty happy to pass. So then I passed, and he's like, yeah, then you have to like do your exam. And I was like, I thought this was my exam. And he was like, no. I was like, well, what have I passed then? And I think it's like this sort of like initial test to, I don't know, whatever. So the good news is I passed. The kind of bittersweet news is the adaptive controls for the car cost €3,500. My car cost 2.5. Like, I've got a pretty decent car, like I think. Anyway, so the controls cost €1,000 more than my car, and I was like, well, that's a bit weird. Like, I really, really, really enjoyed that. Like that, for me, is like proper independence. If I can fucking drive myself places, that's really cool. So and they're like, oh yeah, like, the MD Payash will like help you pay for that, and I'm like, yeah, but the MD Payash won't help me for like 9 months, so what am I supposed to do? And they're like, yeah, well, that's just the way, welcome to France. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. So in other good news, I said to Corentin's back off holiday, and I was just like, look, dude, I've got a bathtub, it's getting fitted this week. Can I go home this weekend and then do the Hôpital du Jour, which is like an outpatient service where I come here? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. I was like, oh, brilliant. So like, just that easy, is it? And he's like, yeah, if you've got a bathtub and you're happy, go for it. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm happy to do that. I can go home as long as my bathtub's fitted. I can go home this weekend. I can go home this weekend, mate. You have no idea how fucking excited I am. And also, I was like, oh, I don't really want, the reason I want to drive so badly is because, Lou's going to have to drive me down here, like, every day. And he was like, no, she's not. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you can get a taxi. And I was like, what? Like, that's going to be really expensive. And he's like, no, we'll pay for it. And I was like, what? So I can come here every day, or like 3 times a week, and do my physio and use the swimming pool and use the facilities and then get driven to and from. And he's like, yeah, and you'll pay for it. Yeah. And I was like, we're not talking about like MD Payash, like you'll pay for it in 9 months. He's like, no, it's like doctor's prescription. Like, I was like, well, that's good news. Because I was like, again, like the thing about being in this position is like, I hate being disabled or like dependent. I hate being dependent on people. Like, oh yeah, cool, like you can go home, but then I thought that Lou would have to keep driving me to and from. But yeah, turns out that's not a problem. So Lou can go snowboarding and do whatever the fuck she wants, and I can do my own thing. I mean, obviously a taxi isn't exactly like driving myself, but it's still more independent than, you know. So anyway, I think that's really cool news, man. Like, so overall, I've had a fucking really good morning. I passed my test, kind of, even though I've got to do another test and 2 hours worth of lessons. It was one of the best mornings I've had, you know, driving on the real roads, like on the real roads, in a car. Oh, God. Little things. It's the little things, man. I fucking love it. Okay, quick update on paying it forward. The last episode I said I would pay it forward because I got a nice good deed, and so I don't really know what to do in my position, but I have left a really positive review online for Satellite Coffee because Paul came and visited me, and obviously it is a really nice cafe anyway, but I just thought I could do that. And I'm also drawing currently a little thank you note to Corentin because he's been so helpful, and I'm also going to give him some chocolate. Yeah, probably just a Freddo or something, you know, as a little memento. I think it might make his day. Another random act of kindness, which was so cool.